Let's talk transfers. Really, really exciting stuff going on around this. The Xerxes story, Joshua Xerxes, Bologna, is going to move. He's got a £34 million contract. He's 23 years of age. He's going to be moving. AC Milan are expected to get this deal done. And we had Fabrizio saying that on Monday. But there is a change around potential move to the Premier League with Arsenal and Manchester United being mentioned. I'd say that he pretty much is the fan favourite at the moment. In fact, look, we've got a poll running at the moment that you can vote in. Which striker would you sign? Jonathan David, £35 million, 24 years of age. Maximilian Bayer, who is £27 million release clause and 21 years of age from Hoffenheim. Or Xerxes, who is 23 years of age, £34 million release clause from Bologna. 47% of you have gone with Xerxes. Now, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I don't think it's likely to happen. I really like the Hoffenheim guy. I've got to be honest, I haven't seen loads of him, but I have been looking at him over the last 24 hours. I have been reading about him, and I like what I see. I wasn't that aware of him before. I'll put my hands up, but how are you supposed to become aware of players? You know, I would love us. When we bought Eric Bailly from Villarreal, I didn't really know much about him. And you know, Baby Reindeer FC can have a pop if they like, but I don't spend every hour of every day watching Bundesliga, Portugal. You know, I touch grass. You know, I get out there. You know, I do my streams. I play a bit of FIFA. You know, I've got family time. I ain't got time to be doing all that. So, you know, I need to get exercise and stuff like that. I need to go and live life a little bit. So when I hear that United are linked to a player, I go and do my research like I have done for the last 30, 40 years. And it serves me quite well. So I've had a look at this Maximilian, and he has been called up to the German squad, by the way. But what really interests me, well, we'll deep dive him more, but I don't want to move away from Xerxes. Xerxes is a really interesting player. I don't think we'll get this deal done. I really don't. I think that I think he's going to go to AC Milan, to be honest. But that doesn't mean that a deal can't be stolen. And you know, if Arsenal want him, Arsenal will get him over us probably. But he's an interesting player, Xerxes, but I would implore people to just figure out what type of striker you want before you start thinking everybody is the same. The really good, interesting opposite thing here is that Jonathan David needs to be brought in as well, because we'll talk about that. Basically, I think it was the Lille president has said that they will sell Jonathan David and Lenny Yoro this summer. So they're both for sale. And they're both going to be available for about 34 million quid. But on Xerxes, release clause £34 million. Jonathan David's about the same price with 1 year left on his contract. And Maximilian Bayer at Hoffenheim has a £27 million release clause. So the great thing about these three options are, if they're viable and if they are deemed good enough by Ten Hag and Ineos and the board, they're all really, really interesting strikers. And when you can get a striker for under £40 million, we should be definitely analysing each three of these players and going, look, we've got Rasmus. We're not looking for Erling Haaland. We're looking for a striker, and I wouldn't be so offensive as to call them a backup striker. We're looking for a second striker option. That's the respectable way. If we can get a decent second striker option for under £40 million, and let's be honest, under £35 million, because I don't know why I'm saying 40, none of them are going to cost more than 35, this is where we should be shopping. Ivan Toney is going to cost you north of 60. Sesko was going to cost you north of 60. These three are going to cost you 30. They're all, what, one's 21, one's 23, one's 24. They're all under 35 million, and they've all got interesting profiles of player. And for me, they're all exactly the sort of player that you bring in to work alongside Rasmus, because they're hungry, they're talented. The big trap is not all three of those players are going to come to the Premier League and be a success. So you've got to make sure you get the right one. And they all are very, very different. When you look at Xerxes, and I know more about Xerxes than I do Bayer, if I'm being honest, but when you look at Xerxes, and when you look at what he's done at Bologna, and you look at his background, I mean, the guy's over 6'3" for a start. I mean, this is interesting to me, because I'm not obsessed by height, but we do need a little bit of height in that team. Scott McTominay gets picked most weeks because of his height. So having a striker that's over 6'3" is very interesting. But when I look at Xerxes, I look at it and I go, he's a very different type of striker to Rasmus. Now that can be a positive. I'm not saying don't sign Xerxes, but when you look at Xerxes, I see him, I mean, for 6'3", he can't be a winger, but he's got winger tendencies. He's got number 10 tendencies. His link-up play is a big part of his game, I think. I think technically, ball at his feet, very, 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 very good. And he is a player that when you watch him for Bologna, he does get involved in the build-up. He does drift wide. He does drift deep. Now, do we want that at Manchester United? Well, I don't think we wouldn't want it. We were looking at Harry Kane, who does that a lot. But obviously, when you've got the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, do you need a player that's going to drop deep? I mean, I personally want somebody who plays on the last man. I want somebody who's stretching that defensive line. I want somebody that, you know, wants to run the channels. I want somebody that's in and around the penalty box. Now, that's a bit redundant because we don't put the ball in the box, but that's the sort of striker I think we need. Some of you might say, no, I actually think we need a striker that drops in and gets involved in the build-up play, in which case Xerxes is very good at that. But we mustn't dismiss the fact that Xerxes can get in behind. He's quick. We mustn't dismiss the fact that he's an aerial threat with his height. And we mustn't dismiss the fact that athleticism-wise, he's strong. So Xerxes does have his obvious strengths. Of course he does. When you look at this, and also very, very important, well, we'll do that in a moment in relation to the likelihood of signing them and how you go about doing it. In relation to Jonathan David, very, very quickly, he is available. It is a bit of a risk, which sounds stupid for an international striker for Canada who's only 24, who's available for 34 million quid, who has scored a lot of goals in the French league, and again, is a player that technically is pretty good. He's pretty used to playing up front in a team where he's got to work hard, where he's got to be part of the link-up play, and he can score goals. But Jonathan David just doesn't seem to be as fashionable as Xerxes. So, you know, but he is an option. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.